Welcome to the Seahawkers podcast with your hosts, Adam Emmert.
I know a lot of people don't want to use injuries as quote-unquote an excuse, but there's a difference between an excuse and a reason.
And Brandan Schultz.
I'm accepting applications for reasons to not like Coach McVay.
Go Hawks!
This is episode 184 of the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandan Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, and joining me live and in person, my good buddy Adam Emmert.
Hats off to you, Brandan, for not changing the intro music to "This is the end of the world as we know it."
Well, you don't know that I haven't changed it yet.
No, I'm assuming that you're not going to change it because I didn't walk in here. We didn't light our hair on fire, raise our hands to the air, and start screaming about the impending apocalypse that's upon us. Like doom. It's over. My Lord, a terrible, sick, awful loss in the clink. No doubt about it. But holy smokes, people, hold it together.
We are clearly going to have to talk about how to properly react to a beatdown. I know it doesn't happen very often.
Yes, uncharted territory for a lot of these,
territory for a lot of
newer
fans.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. Yes,
yeah, and because really, well, and we'll get into it, just how historic when you put it into the numbers. I know most fans don't want to hear it, but I think it's appropriate to put it in its place and recognize that yes, this is not a frequent thing that happens.
No. It was a mollywomping.
Yeah.
We got smushed.
Does it mean that the Seahawks are never going to win another game as long as Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll are part of this team? Some would maybe suggest that.
Yes.
The answer is no. That's not what it means.
You're going way out on a limb there, Brandon. You sure you're comfortable with that prognostication there?
I am comfortable saying that if Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson are on this team come week 16, maybe it's a question. We've talked about being worried about going on the road against the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. If they don't beat the Cardinals, then maybe those people are right. Maybe we'll never win another game with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's the hysteria that's out there. And it's not just, well, and that's one of the things that's a double-edged sword, right? With having fans like we do, the 12s that are so passionate. I mean, look at that stadium towards the end of the game. Still full.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah. I mean, in comparison, like, think of just when we were in New York, Brandon.
Yeah, definitely compare it to the Giants. And when we go back and we talk about some of the terrible losses, you go back to 2010 and being at the game where the Seahawks lost to the Giants. And it was 41-7.
Yeah.
I'd say a fair amount of people left about halftime.
Right. But I mean, the idea being that we have very passionate fans. And so when things go sideways and they get a little weird, then they get a little weird.
They get a little weird.
I've seen some craziness out there, man. So we're here to help calm the hysteria a little bit today. Talk about this loss, which wasn't fun to watch. I did not get to watch it live. It was not fun having that kind of looming over my head, just waiting to see exactly how this happened. I'm not sure why I watched past the first quarter.
No, it was decided after the first quarter. You knew who the better team was on the field.
I knew that today was the day that
you knew which team showed up
was going the Rams' way. Like, it was one of those days where one of the teams did not have it at all, and the other team completely had it. One of the things about the reactions to this loss that I find amazing is that these two teams have played twice this year. Not once, but twice. So the first game, I don't know if you recall this, Brendan, we won.
Really? I know it was a long time ago. But
right.
Yes, we have split with the Rams. In fact, it kind of gets into our playoff chances still. That I do want to take a look at the playoff picture because it did impact it heavily.
Yeah. We're not going to the postseason.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
In fact, I think talking about this game coming up against the Cowboys, it's only delaying the inevitable disappointment for both these teams.
Correct.
Because whoever team between the Seahawks and Cowboys wins is going to be disappointed week 17 when one of the other teams gets in.
Most likely. But you are saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get into that too.
There's even a chance the Seahawks could win the division still.
Right.
It's a minor chance.
Well, it's a minor chance. That's even lesser. That ain't happening.
But actually, there's fewer variables involved, which is interesting. But
okay.
Before we get into this loss against the Rams, I will say to folks tuning in, and even all you actors hired as Rams fans tuning in, expecting to hear about whatever disappointment is in our voice for not getting the win.
Right.
You're not going to hear. This isn't going to be a postmortem episode for the season either, because Adam and I have enough trouble coming up with topics in the off season. We're not starting the off season today.
Oh, hell no. No. We've got months and months of that to come up with that sort of material. Honestly, right about, I don't know, I'm going to say June.
Yeah.
I really do not enjoy doing the show.
June is a tough month.
Yeah.
It's a rough month. But let's get it out there. Just how bad was the Seahawks loss to the Rams? 42-7 loss. Their biggest deficit of the Pete Carroll era. I mentioned the 2010 loss, 41-7. This is 42-7, so 1 point worse.
Yeah. Most
points allowed in a game in the Carroll era since week 12 in 2010 against KC. They put up 42 points on us.
Mm-hmm.
The worst home loss since week 1, 1997.
We were graduating high school.
Yeah, 41-3 loss to the New York Jets. So shout out to former Seahawks coach Dennis Erickson.
Oh, right.
In 97.
I hadn't thought about old Dennis Erickson for a while. That's for sure.
The worst loss since week 16 of 2009, which was a 48-10 loss in Green Bay. Shout out to Coach Mora, who was the coach at that time.
Haven't given him much thought either.
No.
That's for sure.
No. So it is one of those losses, though, when you put it in those terms, when you look at kind of the history, it makes you question if there's something that went on behind the scenes between the Jaguars' loss in this game. Or do you just look at it and you say, it wasn't the Seahawks' day. It wasn't Russell Wilson's day. It was the Rams' day.
I'd say it's like 60% it was the Rams' day. Another 35% it was you're missing half your starting defense. And then the rest of it unknown. Maybe there was some stuff that went on behind the scenes. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. There definitely was some questionable tweets after the game.
Right. Earl Thomas questioned whether or not Bobby Wagner should even be out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And because he said, well, backup would have been just as good. And I don't think Earl Thomas is wrong when he said that. Bobby Wagner was not himself on Sunday against the Rams. And Bobby Wagner put a tweet out, keep my name out of your mouth, essentially,
Yeah, don't be jealous of other people's success. That was the part of it that was interesting to me.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I think the most interesting thing about it is that didn't get kept in house. That ended up public. I'm sure these guys have squabbled before. Speaking of dudes on the team.
Yeah.
Not just Earl and Bobby, but some of the stars, I'm sure they've had words. I'm positive they've had words.
Absolutely, they've had words.
But they've always kept it in house. That's the first time that's gone out real public like that. That was a little worrisome. But they're competitive guys. They're
competitive guys. From what Earl had said, at least that was reported in the media, that part of it, I understood it. I don't think he was coming from a bad place. I think he was saying that, Bobby, we'd like you to get healthy, and you could have sat that one out, and it wouldn't have impacted us based on how the performance went.
Right.
And considering,
I think it was more analysis than it was criticism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That was the impression that I got.
Right. And of course, Bobby took it a little sideways.
Yeah, and I could see why he would take it sideways too, because Bobby Wagner being in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. It helps to get out. You need to be out there on the field in these last few weeks when it matters.
Right.
And, he's close to number 3 all time for the Seahawks in tackles.
Yeah. And these are all personal accolades you're talking about. You're not even speaking to the fact that this was a gigantic game.
Oh, it was a huge game. Yeah.
Right. So
he wanted to be out there to help the team.
Right.
And I think in the aftermath, you can say, well, it didn't really help that much for him to be out there.
No, it didn't. But I think that was clear. There's a lot to talk about regarding the defense. But do you want to unpack this game? Are you ready to do that here?
I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I think there are a lot of topics to talk about today.
Yeah, really, if I'm looking at this game and I'm doing the postmortem on the game, special teams lost us this game right away out of the gate.
John Ryan had a bad game. Special teams tackling had a bad game.
Punt coverage was horrendous. I went back and when I was watching, I think I counted 5 plays that the Rams ran in their own territory. And I'm not sure any of them were any deeper than their own 45. I mean, they literally were operating in Seahawks territory at the start of every drive. One at the half-yard line. That's where they started one drive. It's really difficult for a defense to keep a team from scoring, and held them to a couple field goals and then a touchdown from the half-yard line in the first quarter. You're down 13-0. That's actually a pretty dang good effort by the defense in the first quarter.
I know. And then, to keep it as close as they did.
And then you get down 13-0, and Aaron Donald and Robert Quinn and company can pin their ears back and just come after Russell Wilson because A, we can't run the ball to start with, and B, now you're down 13-0, and you can see the snowballs coming at you. You're going to have to throw the football. Holy smokes. Didn't have a chance. You didn't have a chance at that point. A couple Pharaoh Cooper returns, and that was the end of the game. That truly ended it. The rest of it, I watched, but I didn't take much away from it. I'm not sure there's anything to take away from it, other than you're missing half your defense, and the defensive line will look horrendous when you have 0 linebackers. Because I'm not even counting Bobby as playing, just like Earl.
Yeah, because he looked like a normal dude.
Yeah, he didn't look like Bobby. KJ Wright out. And then in this game, compared to the last time we met up with the Rams, no Cam Chancellor. He's your de facto third linebacker.
Chancellor, yeah, no Richard Sherman from last time.
It makes a gigantic difference. And so, yeah.
Wait. Not having 5 Pro Bowl players on the team compared to last time you played the Rams, that's going to make a difference?
I know a lot of people don't want to use injuries as quote-unquote an excuse, but there's a difference between an excuse and a reason.
Right.
And, I mean, honestly, those are all maybe potential Hall of Fame players when they retire. I mean, in that category.
Cam, Sherman, yeah, for sure.
Bobby, now maybe not KJ, maybe not Cliff Averill, but just think about that for a minute, So it's tough to sit there and lambaste the defensive line then at that point, because when we've seen the Seahawks get gashed in the run game, it's always been about run fits. You hear that a lot, right?
And that's the players getting into the running lanes that they're supposed to be in.
Right. Now, if you're one of the defensive linemen, you understand that all your linebackers are hurt and you're playing with the likes of Michael Wilhoit back there. You try doing too much. You get out of your lane. Big gaps happen, and Todd Gurley looks like Walter Payton for one game.
He's been pretty good this year, actually.
He's okay.
It has definitely helped him being in the Sean McVay offense. And, man, I'm accepting applications for reasons to not like Coach McVay.
A, he's younger than we are. He's a frat boy who's sitting there yucking it up with his quarterback, who I'm sure they bunked together on the road. It's ridiculous. This reeks of the days of Hottie McDaniels when he was coaching the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, but he went down in flames after.
Yeah, he had Tim Tebow.
McVay has a good team.
I can't wait. I can't wait for next year, when the whole league has had an entire offseason to digest this Rams resurgence, man. Yeah, babyface McVay, he's going to be having some issues next year. Trust me on that one.
Well, we'll see how
I'm not ready, because everybody in the world is crowning the Rams. You want to crown them? Crown them. It's ridiculous.
I think they are going to struggle in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not going far.
I think they'll go to the second round. I think they will continue to struggle with the Eagles and the Vikings, just like they did in the regular season.
Yeah, and struggled with us when we had our team.
They've struggled against top defenses.
Yeah, the struggle is going to be super real for them. And the postseason's totally different. Get Jared Goff. That's the other thing. Jared Goff did precisely diddly poo in this game.
He didn't need to. He had Todd Gurley and he had his defense.
That's fine, but everybody crowing about how great the Rams are. I have yet to see Jared Goff do something where I was like, oh, wow, he's going to set the world on fire.
It was definitely different than the Eagles game, where you looked at some of those Carson Wentz throws and went, holy smokes.
Yes, very different. Not that he's a bad player, just he's not.
He's just in his second year, too. He's going to get better.
You would think, unless he gets worse.
Yes, those are a couple of the options.
Yeah, which I'm fully prepared to accept.
Option 3,
yeah,
he stays about the same.
Mind blown.
I know. Nobody thought there was a third option.
No,
there was a third option.
I certainly didn't.
Well, let's talk about the playoffs, since it looks like the Rams.
That's all you want to cover with the Rams.
What
game?
else is there to talk about with this Rams game?
I don't know. I thought maybe you'd have some thoughts.
Yeah, we got beat. It stunk.
Okay.
One thing I will mention,
Okay.
and my wife pointed this out throughout the game. Russell Wilson, terrible game.
Yeah. Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn at 10 feet. He was high on everything. He had some open dudes. Missed them.
And then, I mean, at one point, he ran across the line of scrimmage, way over the line of scrimmage, threw the ball.
Yeah, his head wasn't in this game.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons Russell stunk is Fetty stunk.
Yeah.
He was terrible. He patted his league leading stat in penalties, most penalized player in the whole league.
And that's one of those spots where you look at in the offseason and you wonder, okay, is this player going to get better now that he's had one full year at the right tackle spot?
I get the sense, I don't know. I get the sense that Pete's pretty fed up.
The one thing where I know Pete is fed up is the running game, not being able to consistently run the football. The more and more I listen to his press conferences as the season goes on, he's fed up with that.
Well, yeah, and he should be. He should look at himself in the mirror when he's fed up with that. Him and John Schneider sat down this offseason, thought Eddie Lacy was the answer to the running game instead of offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and rail about it for the millionth time, but I mean, at the end of the day, I did not want to be right on this.
Yeah, that's going to be a short list too of the people who were anti Eddie Lacy that we had a little bet going with. Mm-hmm. We need to revisit what we were going to send out for those folks.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but congratulations for picking the winning team.
Yeah, I guess. Congratulations, but not.
Exactly. It's the most saddening win ever. So you want to talk about playoffs? Playoffs?
Well, first I want to get into an email from Andrew in Nashville because he picked up on a phrase, and quite a few members of the flock picked up on this phrase throughout the game. Andrew says, if I hear or read changing of the guard one more time, I'm going to go crazy. Since 2012, other teams in the NFC have risen up to compete against the Seahawks. The 49ers were competitive in 2012 and 2013. Then the Cardinals were good during the 2014, 2015, and he has 2016 with a question mark seasons. And now the Rams are the new up-and-coming team. But analysts seem to forget that the Seahawks were in the mix during that entire time. To think that they were just going to fall off a cliff after this year just because it's the Rams' turn to have a good season, it's ridiculous. The Seahawks have work to do, obviously. O-line, running game, get healthy, etc. But with the way the younger players are playing now, there's no reason to think they won't be relevant for years to come as long as Wilson is commanding the offense. Finally, this may be a topic better discussed in the offseason, but Michael Silver wrote an article on NFL.com talking about the Hawks' quote-unquote rebuild that's coming next year. He seems convinced that Sherman, Chancellor, Averill, Bennett, and Thomas won't be returning to the team for a variety of reasons. While I can see this team moving on from 1 to 2 players because of overinflated contracts, I can't imagine a full-on house cleaning next year. If this team can get healthy and clean up a few areas of weakness, there's no reason to think they can't be dominant next year, right? You guys have any thoughts on this? Thanks for a great pod each and every week. Go Hawks, from Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew, I think hits on a lot of things there. I talked to a couple people that had seen that article from Michael Silver. I did not read it. I stayed away from almost all of the national media after... Well, I've kind of have all year, but specifically after this game, because I knew it was going to be light your hair on fire and the apocalypse is here. Like I knew that's exactly what it's going to be.
And they've been trying to crown the Rams all season.
Yes. So here they go. The writers finally have their story. And with Michael Silver, he makes a case that all those guys are gone, right?
Uh-huh.
You can make a case for anything. Doesn't mean you're right.
Right.
I mean, I don't see them moving on from Earl.
Not Earl. Bennett, no.
Nope. He's still under team control for another year, I think.
And he has a pretty significant cap hit next year, too.
Right. The Achilles injury is one that people come back from all the time these days. That is not a career ender. I see Sherman back, but maybe Cam gone. I could see maybe Cliff Averill gone.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you're going to lose guys every year. Every year. That's the NFL. Teams change. This isn't the same team that won the Super Bowl. Never will be again.
No.
It'll be a new version that goes out and wins the Super Bowl. Yes, with Russell Wilson in command of the offense, we will be competitive year in, year out.
It goes back to the idea of things that you still need to improve in the offseason. You're still going to have to improve the running game. You're still going to need improvement on the offensive line.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But you could also end up with a couple of these defensive players staying and playing late into their career. So what I can't understand, like this season, really, I have not seen one side of the ball lose so many star players in a season that I can remember.
No, Hawk Blogger posted an article about it showing the number of games missed by season.
Right.
And you look at 2012, 2013, 2014, and even 2015.
Oh, I'm not even talking just Seahawks football. I'm talking NFL. Like, I can't recall too many teams getting smushed by the injury bug like this towards the end of the season. Now, it's been getting worse and worse, the injuries, each and every year. I'm just curious, when did it become that 28, 29, 30 is now NFL old? Because it used to be 33, 34, 35 was NFL old.
Right.
Now suddenly we're old at 28, 29, 30. Like, and guys can't keep it together. Ray Lewis won a Super Bowl at the age of 37 with Ed Reed playing at the age of 96 behind him.
No, you get into your second contract and you're old.
Yeah. Like, so the idea that all these guys are done forever,
right,
is just
it's
absurd. Weird. That they don't have a future much longer past this. Great players play for a long time. Like, what, Deion Sanders was bad when he turned 30?
No, he had quite a few good years left in him.
Jerry Rice?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
He wasn't great when it came to the Seahawks, but I think he was, 40 by the time?
Yes, he was. He was legitimately 40 playing wide receiver.
But you're the one doing it, too. You're the one talking about how Larry Fitzgerald is about washed up, and he's, 33?
Well, he looks washed up.
He's had one of his best seasons this year.
Yeah, well, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, or every single year. Whatever. I don't care. I may have been wrong about Fitz. Fine.
Yeah.
He's not 33. He's older than that.
I think he was 33 when he started the season.
I think he's 35.
He was 33 when he started the season.
Ugh.
Turned 34 in August.
Whatever. Don't bother me with your facts, logic, and reason. Fine.
Not done.
Fine.
Still got lots of time. But yet we talk about Larry Fitzgerald's retirement, his pending retirement for, 2-3 years now. Yeah,
but I mean, again, that's still none of the Seahawks players are even in that range yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So all these articles with everybody just, the doom and gloom and the changing of the guard thing. You're right. A lot of people did pick up on that. I saw a lot of people ranting and raving about that. I watched the condensed version of the game. So it may have cut out a few of Charles Davis's changing of the guard comments. Must have because I hadn't picked up on it.
Well, and we heard it the week before too with Jacksonville. Because their top defense. And they're looking to do something historic this year, too, with their points allowed, turnovers, and sacks. I think no team has ever finished number one in all three categories.
Right.
So they do have a top defense.
Well, was the Seahawks defense dominant when we had our dudes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, there's still good personnel here. It's just a matter. I really thought they'd be able to put together a healthy season this year.
Well, go back just to when the Dwayne Brown trade happened. Mm-hmm. When that happened, Cam Chancellor was still healthy. Sherman had been dealing with injuries, but he hadn't ruptured his Achilles yet. Bobby Wagner was fine. KJ Wright was fine. Everybody except for Cliff Averill on the defense was still there and fine, and the defense was doing very well. That's why the Dwayne Brown trade made so much sense.
It still does.
Yeah, well, you still have him next year.
Yeah, no, they're going to
need him again.
He's going to retire as Seahawk.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. He's going to get a contract extension. Mark that down. Yeah. That's happening.
Well, he's one of those guys that you need to keep because
left tackles don't grow on freaking trees.
No, and we've seen. Say what you want about John Schneider, Pete Carroll. They're awesome at finding dudes on defense.
Yes.
Not so much on offense.
Right. They found a dude on offense.
Well,
offensive line. They found some good offensive players.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just the thing to me. I mean, it would be one thing if we had lost, say, same amount of people, but it was more like Cam Chancellor and then Jaron Reed, Justin Coleman, whoever's playing strong side linebacker at any given point.
Yeah, Will Hoyt or
right. If you're losing guys like that to injury, this team is...
You should be able to fill in behind those guys.
Right. But when you lose the majority of your top flight players, it's going to look like that for a game. Happens.
One of the reasons why I get so frustrated is because this team is generally, they'll keep it close through the first half. In effect, it shortens the game to just playing in the second half if you can keep it within 4 points a touchdown. Yeah. And then you can go all out in the second half. But when you fall behind that quickly in the first half and you put it out of reach and you keep trying to get back in it, and you dig yourself a deeper hole. Yeah. There have been games where they've been able to come out of them, like the game against Atlanta where they went down 20 points at half, and the game against Carolina where they were down, 31 points before they finally came back. They've been able to do it. It's just they weren't doing it against the Rams.
Well, if there's one takeaway I had from this game is Brian Schneider has officially become John Fossil's catfish.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
John Fossil has owned Schneider in the special teams arena. Just think about it over the years. Because he's the same special teams coach that was there underneath the mustache.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been there the entire time.
Yeah. John Fossil. I don't.
Another coach that I can't dislike. Dang it.
No, I can now. I can now. Like, it's official now. I hate John Fossil with all the sports hate.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's only because he's good, though.
Yes.
I guess so. It's like a Tom Brady type thing. Like, he's so good. You just.
Oh, I actually don't hate Tom Brady.
No, you have to. He's the Genghis.
Well, yeah, he's the Genghis. That doesn't mean I have to hate him.
Yes, you do.
No,
you have to be consistent with your sports hate.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, that's the whole beauty of sports is you can be irrational and it doesn't matter. This is the place to do it.
Well, speaking of irrational, let's look at our playoff chances.
Great segue, man.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
As I mentioned before, the Rams have not clinched the NFC West title. They just have to win one more game. And they could do that very easily considering the opponents that they have left on the schedule.
Right?
Titans this week, but they go on the road against the Titans.
Rams Titans, yep, in Titanville.
In Titanville. And then they have the 49ers at home to close out the season. The 49ers undefeated under sexy Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, yeah. Handsome Jimmy's got it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It'd be hilarious if the Rams lost out and we won out.
Wouldn't it be hilarious?
It would be hilarious.
I would love it. Number 4 seed, home game.
It feels unlikely.
It's probably unlikely.
I mean, I think the Titans can give them a game.
Sure.
The Niners game is the one that I look at and go, yeah, probably not so much.
With the division on the line, yeah, probably not. They had a good game. Well, that was the Thursday night game where those two teams played within a point or two.
Mm-hmm.
One of the exciting Thursday night games this year.
Yes.
So that was early on in the season, but people are going to figure McVay out.
I know this is your more favored playoff scenario, but this is the one that's by far less interesting to me.
There are quite a few scenarios that all of them involve the Seahawks going 2-0.
Right.
So you got to win your last two games. Yeah. If you lose, you're done.
Right.
Playoffs, in effect, are starting this week.
Correct.
For Seattle. To me, the best playoff scenario would be if the Saints, well, the best one would be if they won the division, but maybe the more likely scenario, Saints would need to beat the Falcons. Mm-hmm. But then we're rooting for the Bucs the final 3 weeks of the season. It's very weird. Right. The Buccaneers need to beat the Panthers this weekend. Because if that happens,
I thought Atlanta,
it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen.
I thought Atlanta just had to lose their last two games, and the Lions would have to lose one, and we're in, and we win.
Either Atlanta, the Saints, or the Panthers. Any three of those teams go 0-2 the last 2 weeks, paired with one Lions loss.
Perfect. Screw the NFC South. That's easy to root against.
It would set up nicely if the Saints beat the Falcons and the Buccaneers beat the Panthers, because then you would have the Falcons and the Panthers playing each other the final week of the season, and one of those two teams has to lose.
Unless they tied, which would be such a jerk move that I wouldn't even know what to do about that.
I think that would be okay, though. I think the Seahawks get in with the tie, too.
Oh, okay, cool.
For that game.
All right. Ooh, that'd be nice. So the Bucs dang near pulled it off against the Falcons on Monday night.
I know.
I was rooting pretty hard on that one.
I was rooting hard on that too. And we could still be rooting for the Bucs if the Falcons beat the Saints, because then the Bucs play the Saints in week 17.
Oh, right. Go Bucks.
Yes, go Bucks. I think any one of those three teams maybe could lose 2 games going out the season, but now you're counting on the Lions. The Lions have to lose 1 game to either the Bengals or the Packers, who just sidelined Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you know why they did that? It wasn't to protect Aaron Rodgers. It was to screw the Seahawks.
Exactly.
You know that's what that was.
The Packers were just looking to screw the Seahawks.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. A lot of you will say that's some conspiracy theory BS, but I'm telling you, straight up.
So should we not have been rooting for the Packers to lose this last Sunday?
Guess not. Although I didn't want to see Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs anyways.
I didn't either.
Talk about sport. Like, I legitimately hate Aaron Rodgers, I think.
Yeah, sports hate.
Yeah. He's kind of douchey.
Well, so is Tom, though.
Yeah, but Tom came from nothing, right? Like, for the most part.
Okay, so it's a family background thing?
I guess
social status.
Aaron Rodgers has always been the golden child, and like he's just got this entitlement to him that I can't stand.
At least Tom Brady, you have the backstory of he wasn't a starter in college, and
right.
He was a 6th round pick,
right? And he doesn't seem to treat people cruddy behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Whereas you hear things about Aaron Rodgers and his ego, which is taller than he is.
It didn't hurt my feelings to see the Panthers beat him. Because, here comes Aaron Rodgers. He's back to save the season.
Right.
Oh, by the way, you're out.
Yeah.
But people aren't talking about how the window's closed for the Packers.
No, they're just fine. I find it interesting, just the narrative. People love to write off the Seahawks. I've gotten so much crap. I bought a new Seahawks hoodie yesterday at the mall doing Santa. I wore it all day. I don't give a crap. Yeah, we just got smoked. Yeah, I'm still 12. Hell yeah. Sometimes you get beat bad.
Yeah, I had a couple people ask me too. How you doing after Sunday? I'm fine. I can think about other things.
Yeah, it's okay. I got more to life than that. Like, was I bummed out for a little bit? Sure, but I got over it.
Right.
Yeah. One guy asked me if I got that hoodie for 50% off after Sunday.
Well, that would have been nice.
Yeah. I was like, no. I paid
still charging full price.
Still full price because we're those kind of fans. We're still in it, even if we can't win it.
And we have to keep winning, though, to keep our chances up. And this game against the Cowboys, I still think...
Do you want to go to the playoffs or do you want a draft pick, Brandon?
What are we at right now? Number 19, I think?
Yeah. No, I'm with
the
you.
19th pick?
Yep. Go to the playoffs for sure. I told you. You changed my mind on that years ago. I'm not backpedaling.
Part of the reason why I look at that, and I think back to the 2005 Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Seahawks played the Steelers. Steelers barely snuck in to the playoffs that year as a number 6 seed.
Right.
And yeah, they were configured a little bit differently. That was more of a defensive dominant team.
Jerome Bettis. They had a running game. Roethlisberger, Young, Hines Ward was a great run blocking receiver. Nice. He was the MVP of that game. All right.
They barely got into the playoffs. Go back to 2010 when the Seahawks had their worst loss up until this point in the Pete Carroll era, that 41-7 loss to the Giants. The Packers got into the playoffs that year as the number 6 seed.
Yeah. And this would be, if I'm looking at different years where a 6 seed could rise up, whether it's the Seahawks or not. Like, let's say it's even somebody else.
Right. Because you look at the Eagles.
Right.
And they're down their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
You look at the
Vikings.
They haven't had a starting quarterback all season.
Correct.
It's cool to see Bridgewater get in at the end of that game.
I missed that, but it was brought to my attention.
Yeah.
And I was pretty excited about that. Yes.
But you have 2 teams there that have excellent defenses.
Yeah.
But you're missing that quarterback. They could be beat at home in that.
And those are your top seeds.
Those are your top 2 seeds.
Right. And then you got the Falcons, who can struggle on any given day.
They've been very inconsistent this year.
Absolutely. And the Rams, a very young team. I would not mind seeing the Rams again in the playoffs in LA.
That was some point that people were saying that if we get in as a number 6 seed, going to the Rams in LA as the 3 seed, might be the most ideal.
Absolutely.
You don't have to travel across country like you do.
Yeah, I don't care. I could care less about the travel. I think it's the dumbest narrative in the world.
I know you do, but
I think
it's close.
Cool. I think that the idea that this team could get fired up for any game to go back down there and beat them in the playoffs after getting smoked at home.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
If there's anything that could motivate this team, there you go.
And then you play either a Vikings team or a Philly team in the next round.
A Philly team which you've already beaten, and now they're down their star player.
Yeah.
And the Vikings, who my odds-on favorite for the Super Bowl for the NFC.
I'm calling it right now already. If the Seahawks don't make it, I'm rooting for the Vikings.
Yeah, me too. Somebody asked me that, and I was like, "Yep, that's where I'm going."
I've already decided my playoff team.
Yeah, a Bears fan asked me that, and I said the Vikings. He goes, "You know what? Me too."
Yeah,
and I almost did. I was almost
for
like,
a Bears fan. What?
I know. I was very confused by this. I think it's just been so much losing that they just
they don't even care about the division anymore.
No, not really.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, yeah. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like the Chargers in the AFC West. I still have that sports hate for Kansas City, for Oakland, and for Denver.
Yeah.
But I just never had it for San Diego because they never won.
Yeah, Los Angeles is by far my favorite team in that division.
Yeah, I still like to refer to them as San Diego.
I know. And I'll just keep subtly correcting you like that.
I don't know who
it's going to take 5 full years before that is something that we don't.
Is it because I still refer to it as the Central divisions for NFC?
That's true. Yeah, so. You do. You can't shake it. Yeah,
and I have no idea how long that's happened.
Yeah, you might be screwed for life.
I think maybe it's because I enjoy Tecmo Bowl so much.
Absolutely.
Because I can't play the new Madden games.
No.
I have to
use my toes.
I have to create a player. I have to go through. I have to make trades that are.
And here's the thing. And this is the thing that's really annoying. Like you drop back to pass, and the dude's open by like 15 yards, and like the defender magically slides across the screen for 9 million yards. It picks off the ball. You can't complete a pass. It's the dumbest thing in the world. That's a completion in real life every time. If the spacing is what it appears to be on the screen.
I haven't played Madden since Sean Alexander was on the cover.
Yeah, it would have been 06 for me. So was that
was the year?
Yeah. Yep, that was it. Then I was out. It honestly got too complicated. Unnecessarily.
Tecmo Bowl is where it's at. It's not complicated.
Hut. Yeah.
One team that I hated to play in Tecmo Bowl, Dallas Cowboys.
Agreed. Although they were, first year of Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, so they weren't great in Tecmo Bowl.
Well, my prime Tecmo Bowl years were on the Super Nintendo for Tecmo Super Bowl 3. That was my favorite one.
Oh, I never played that. It was Super Tecmo Bowl for me on the original Nintendo with QB Eagles, QB Bills.
Yeah.
And Troy Aikman was definitely the Cowboys quarterback who, I don't know. I mean, would you say Dak Prescott is better or worse than Troy Aikman? At this point in their careers.
At this point in their career?
Second year.
That's hard to say.
I'd say pretty comparable, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty comparable. Actually, Dak's had a better first couple of years, but he's had a better team around him than Aikman inherited.
Oh, yeah. That first year for Aikman was rough.
Yeah. He had a really bad year that first year.
Yeah. What, 1-15 or something like that?
Yeah. So when it finishes, do you think Prescott's going to be above... where do you fit him with Romo and Aikman? Just projecting out.
I think Romo's better than Aikman.
Yeah, he didn't have the team around him again.
Yeah.
That Aikman did. But Aikman was really good at taking care of the football.
I mean, Aikman was
he could be clutch in the playoffs, which Romo, he
was clutch-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's Romo supposed to do? He should have beat the Packers one year if the catch roll was not stupid.
Yeah, and if he could hold on to the football on a snap for a field goal, then he would have another playoff victory.
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
So,
well, whatever.
I don't know. One of them was on him, and one of them was...
All I know, Brandon, is we don't have to play Romo, we don't have to play Aikman, we have to play Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Sean Lee down in Dallas, and we got to win.
All three of those players are playing. A couple guys out, or potentially out for the Cowboys. Tyron Smith, maybe out this game.
I didn't know that.
He came out of the last game with a knee injury.
Oh, wow.
I had an MRI, and it doesn't look like it was any of the CLs, but...
still... potentially not play.
Could be a sprain CL.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like one of their linebackers, Anthony Hitchens, could be out.
Well, I'll tell you something straight up, Brandon. You're going to see a much better showing from the Seahawks in
Orlando Scandrick
in this game than you did the last one. There's no doubt about it. They're embarrassed. They know they have to win out to even have a shot.
Two losses in a row.
And
how often have you seen them take 3?
Right.
Ever? Under Pete Carroll? Or maybe the first year?
Maybe the first year. I can't recall right off the top of my head. But Bobby Wagner will be a week healthier. KJ Wright will return from injury. I think those are significant factors. Now, the thing that scares the holy bejesus out of me was watching Todd Gurley run around like he did behind a pretty good offensive line, and then knowing that Zeke could do the same thing behind a pretty good offensive line.
Tyron Smith, it could impact that one if he doesn't play.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been quite as dominant as they have been in years past.
But it's still pretty good.
It's still
and
pretty
Ezekiel
good.
Elliott's pretty good. And he's had 6 weeks of rest.
And he's mad.
I'd imagine that he's mad. He's going to run with a purpose in this game.
Yeah. Of course he has to come back for us.
Oh, well, of course. He had to delay it just enough so he comes back against the Seahawks.
Right.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, his appeal couldn't have lasted one more week back earlier in the season to put him coming back next week.
Or even coming back a week earlier just so he isn't coming back against the Seahawks.
Right, at home.
Right.
So I said this straight up. I said this before we went to Jacksonville, that in this streak, the 4-game streak going down the stretch here, this is the game that had worried me the most.
Yeah, and we just lost 2 games going into the game that you were worried about.
That Jacksonville loss is so stupid. That loss and the Redskins loss might be the 2 most frustrating losses of the season for me.
I could agree with that.
Because that's what puts you where you are right now.
Definitely the Skins loss, because field goals kept you out of that one.
And the Atlanta loss, where coaching kept us out of that one.
Yes. Well, really, I mean, you look at most of the losses.
Well, those were the particularly dumb ones.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just get beat, but like those ones were dumb. And this one, I mean, at this point, so Santa is a Cowboys fan.
Yes, he is.
And so we'll be in the Santa booth when this game is about halfway through. I'll be taking photos while Cowboys fan Santa is there. And I'll just let you know that I asked Santa for a Seahawks victory for Christmas.
You did.
I sat on his lap and I asked Santa for a Seahawks victory. And you know what he said?
Did he tell you no?
He said, I can't because it's not on Christmas. He found a loophole.
Oh, I have a feeling that Santa's used that loophole once before.
I don't know how many people have asked him for a victory over his team on his lap that happened to be playing on Christmas Eve.
So he's saying that if it were Christmas Day, that if the Seahawks played on Monday instead of Sunday,
right? If it was Seahawks Cowboys,
then he could make it happen.
Then he could make it happen, but not on Sunday because it's Christmas Eve.
I'm starting to question Santa's magic. Did you question his magic?
I did. You said he didn't make the rules.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Could you at least ask him? Is there enough magic there for a Fetty to have a good game against DeMarcus Lawrence?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I can ask.
Can you just ask him?
I'm going to ask the next little kid that walks up in Seahawks clothes to like
0 sacks for DeMarcus Lawrence. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And 0 false starts for Fetty.
That's what I need to do. Because I have a lot of young kids that come up and they always are, excited to see somebody wearing Seahawks gear, right? Mm-hmm. And they start talking Hawks, right? Every one of them I'm going to have go up there and ask Santa to give a Fetty a good game for Christmas against the Cowboys.
That would be okay.
I'm going to do that.
If he can't promise a win, I think that's that's the next best thing.
I think it'd be hilarious to have child after child walk up there and ask him the same thing.
Can Jermaine Fetty have a good game?
Right.
Against the Cowboys?
Yes.
Well, we need it because that is you mentioned
the matchup that scares you the most,
and Zeke coming back.
Yeah,
those 2 things.
Yep.
So one on offense, one on defense, and then I don't know about special teams.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem to matter who we're playing all of a sudden. Like that just seems bad every week.
Yeah, it's gone downhill. John Ryan's having an atrocious year.
Blair Walsh, we've documented how, I mean, at least he made his okay. One kick last week.
Yeah, he's an okay kicker.
He's very okay.
Yeah.
And then you have the coverage teams on punts for whatever reason. We're giving up these crazy punt returns.
And we got DJ Alexander from the Chiefs this offseason, and that was supposed to be a big get in that category, a Pro Bowl special teams guy.
He's been all right.
Well, I know, but we're getting smoked.
No, he can't play all the positions.
Well, it's not like, but we got him and suddenly we got worse.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a little bit of, this might be what it is the idea that on defense, we've had so many injuries, and so now you have a lot of backups playing significant minutes, and those are the guys that are usually playing on special teams, and so maybe they're wore down a little bit. It's just they're not able to perform at a high level on special teams.
And that minor difference could make the difference.
I don't know. That's the best theory I have for you.
Okay. I don't think we're spending a lot of time looking at that in particular during a game.
But we ought to, because it's been
a big impact.
It lost us this game. Lost us the Redskins game. Special teams. It's a third of the game.
Lost the Jacksonville game.
So when you guys make fun of us for talking about long snappers in the offseason.
You're welcome.
Yes, absolutely.
Although long snapper hasn't been an issue this year from what I can tell so far.
That's why I want a Tyler Ott jersey for Christmas.
Is that the one you want?
69, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the one.
I thought you wanted a Willie Beavers jersey.
I do. I want Willie Beavers to be converted to a long snapper and take Tyler Ott's number as 69. That's what I want.
You didn't ask Santa for that, though.
Not yet. But now I've got a new idea when I go to the Santa booth this morning.
If you can't make a Fetty have a good game, that's number 3.
That's number 3. I want a Willie Beavers number 69 jersey.
Yeah.
Willie Beavers just needs to like make a deal with Tyler Ott for the number. Tyler Ott needs to be 00. I keep saying that.
You could just have the jersey made. He doesn't physically actually have to wear that number.
I don't know that it wouldn't be as cool.
Well, you're right. It wouldn't be as cool.
Right.
But it can still be done.
I don't know. I don't wear jerseys anyways. It would be hung on the wall. But yeah.
I feel like we've reached the end of the first half of the show.
Yeah, we have. Whenever we devolve, that's how we know. Whenever we get to talking about Willie Beavers, it's time to move on to the second half.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
Well, if you are in the Dallas area and you want to go to the game, check out Seahawkerspodcast.com/tickets or Seahawkerspodcast.com/StubHub. And those are our 2 ticket affiliates. If you want to go to the game, a portion gets kicked back to the show. Seahawkerspodcast.com/tickets. or Seahawkerspodcast.com/StubHub. Check it out. I'm guessing with it being Christmas Eve and the Cowboys stadium, it's a big stadium, so you're probably going to be able to get to go to the game relatively inexpensive compared to a Seahawks game.
Yeah, go down to Jerry World, see how it is.
I do want to see a game there eventually.
Yeah, me too.
Next year. We got to think about where we're going to go next year.
Well, I haven't seen the schedule yet next year.
We have our opponents for the most part.
I know. We got a whole off season, Brandon.
If the Cowboys finish in second place, we get the Cowboys at home next year.
We got the whole...
Well, the Cowboys are going to finish in second place. If the Seahawks finish in second place in the division, then Cowboys at home.
Sure. We got a whole off season.
You don't want to get into it?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I mean, we know the opponents. We just don't know the dates yet.
Right.
But let's come back. We'll come back from the break. We'll take some more email, and we'll get into some do better and better at life. And we are back to the second half of the show. I promised a couple emails. We'll get to those, and no new members of the flock this week. But I do have a shout out for our members of the flock this week. Also, we got a card from Barry the Redskin and John Davison.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it says, just a short note to thank you and the other Seahawkers who are inside the flock and outside for the brilliant hospitality shown to us on our recent trip to Seattle. It was great to meet you all at the sports bar and at your tailgate event. It was great to connect names and faces. I've enclosed the dollars John and I brought back from Seattle and hope you'll accept them to your food bank fund. We hope to see you all again when the Seahawks come to London. From Barry and John.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Actually, when we were talking about places to go, like when the Seahawks do go to London, I would be really excited to give that a go.
That would be a fun one to go to.
Yes.
I've only been to the airport, so it would be nice to see more than just the airport there.
The only foreign country I've ever been to is Canada.
And that one's pretty close.
Yeah.
You can almost walk to it from your house.
Yes. Yes.
We can thank Jason Kyler Yano for sending us some brewskis. Called up the local store in Missoula, and had some beer for you to pick up, Adam.
Absolutely, had it set aside for Adam the Rant, which was that was an interesting thing to say to the cashier.
Yeah,
yeah. There's some beer here for me. What's your name? Adam the Rant. What?
Do you mean Adam Durant?
No.
No, it's my Twitter handle, Adam
yes.
the Rant.
Yes. So Brandon and I will have to crack those open sometime this week. I wanted to drink them during one of the pods, but we've been recording in the mornings, and that's probably a bad idea to down one of those nice, big, tall, dank beers and then go make kids cry on Santa's lap. That's probably a bad idea.
Although there was somebody who commented here recently that they wanted to hear you drunk on an actual podcast, so...
Yes, and you too.
No, they didn't mention me. They just mentioned you.
Well, I know another listener that has mentioned you as well.
Yeah.
The drunk podcast, Brandon. People want to do it. And look, if you want to hear me drunk on a podcast, this is real easy. If we get to that 300 member of the flock, and we're doing post-game recaps.
Post-game shows, post-game recaps.
Most of those, I'm going to be a little schmammered when we
generally, yeah.
Yep.
I've talked to you after a game on several occasions.
Yes.
And that's true.
Yeah.
That's the best time to catch at them pretty well.
Yep, that's the time. Yeah. The Seahawks make daddy drink.
Even when they win.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Yep.
Lisa Carlson wrote in, said, my interpretations of John Schneider's actions this year was to win now, and we mortgaged part of our draft for this. Where does that put us next year and the year after?
Well, I think we're in pretty good shape, to be honest. I mean, I honestly believe
we don't have second-round draft picks.
Well, yeah, we do.
Yeah, when we trade the first round.
Yeah, I was going to say they're called first round draft picks, and we just trade those for second round draft picks. It's what we do.
It's what we do. Which is why the position in the first round doesn't really seem to matter.
Correct.
Because they just trade them anyway. Although I guess it'll be interesting to see if the Seahawks don't make the playoffs, what you get for a number 19 draft pick instead of a number 25 or 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still probably a number 35 draft pick at the end of the day.
You probably just get a better fourth to go along with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Well, thanks to everybody who emailed in this last week. We want to get on to our do better and better at life. And we'll have to get into picks this week, too.
Yes. Yeah,
so we'll have to do a pick'em show.
Okay.
I wanted to congratulate, though, our winner from last week, because we did not do a pick'em show. Congrats to Gary Bloom, Peaceful, Easily Feeling. He didn't even have to do a tiebreaker last week.
Wow.
He was number one overall. Second time this year?
Gary's good at picks. No. I gotta give him that. He's good at picks. It's annoying.
When someone is good at picks and you're not.
I'm not terrible at picks. I just need to make them. Not making them that 1 week was difficult.
I want to know what is
your total? That's what I want to know.
You want to know my total?
Yeah.
I am at 1660. Is that what you're at?
I'm at 1670 and I took a week off.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I was just letting you know.
I also didn't pick a game last week, too.
A game.
Yeah.
How about a whole week of them?
Yeah, well, that's whatever.
Okay, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I know, you were ahead of me by a week. That's been consistent all year. And then you took a week off and I caught up. Why does that surprise you?
Well, you almost caught up. You're still 10 behind.
Yeah, well, I'm 10 behind because I didn't pick the Skins-Cardinals game for whatever reason. I thought I picked it, and then
You'd be 100 behind if I picked my picks.
Yeah. Nothing I can do about that. I'm still going to catch you, though.
You're bad at picks.
You might end up being my do better this week.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Well, I don't need to do better because I'm better at picks than you.
And that's not all. That's not all the things.
Brandon, I'm not only better at picks than you. I'm better at life than you.
Oh yeah? Yeah. Are your tires still on your car? How's that going?
For the moment, I got here. Sometimes I still do dumb things.
Yeah. Who you got for do better this week?
My do better this week is for whiny freaking Pittsburgh Steelers fans. My Lord. If I had a nickel for every Pittsburgh Steelers fan that came up to the booth and we started talking football, well, I can't believe the NFL gypped us out of a freaking win again. Meh. What a bunch of crybaby asses. Unfreaking believable. Look, the catch rule might not be a good rule.
It's not a good rule.
I'm with you. But it's the rule. It's how it's been called forever.
Yeah.
Since it's been enacted. It is what it is. You lost to the Patriots, just like I picked you to. And just because it's a public team, I see headlines like, how the Steelers were robbed of a win. No. They weren't robbed of anything. It is the rule. It may be a dumb rule. We can discuss that if you'd like. But it's the rule. You lost. Stop crying.
And they didn't lose on that one play.
According to every Steelers fan that's ever walked the earth, they did.
I think I saw Ben Roethlisberger get picked off in the end zone because he fake snapped it.
Nope, it's all about that dumb rule, Brandon. They got robbed.
It's all the rule.
They got robbed. My Lord. So to all you crybaby ass Pittsburgh Steeler fans, do better.
Yeah, they were crying this last week. Raiders fans, were they crying this last week against the Cowboys? Because
nobody listens to Raiders fans.
Yeah, but wasn't that the game where they pulled out the dumb index card, and because the football touched the index card, that he counted that as a first down when it shouldn't have been?
I thought that because he could put a index card between there, it was not a first down.
He put it in between there, and then if there wasn't any wiggle room.
Oh, that's how I figured it?
And so that's how I figured that it was a first down.
Whatever, dude. I like it. I like going old school. He's using some office supplies out there. He MacGyvered it.
I think the Cowboys fans were behind it because, shocker, they were looking to capitalize off it monetarily by putting Cowboys logos on index cards now.
Oh, there's a stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past Cowboys fans to buy it, too.
Oh, yeah. No, they will.
Yeah, you can put a star on anything.
Yeah.
Cowboys fans will buy it.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
There was that. And then, talk about another rule. Derek Carr lunging for the end zone, loses the ball. It goes out the back of the end zone, and Cowboys get the ball.
That's cheating, Brandon.
I know.
The Raiders were robbed.
Change that rule.
Change that rule.
Well, now it might not get changed because it benefited the Cowboys.
That's exactly right. It's definitely not getting changed.
Well, my do better this week is for the catch rule.
Good. Good.
Let's change it already.
Because I said we could talk about that if you want. I didn't know you really wanted to.
Yeah, I do. I really do want to talk about it because I'm so tired of. We saw we saw a catch negated in the game against the Rams. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Graham, he looked like he had caught the ball. And then I thought for sure that was a catch.
Yep, me too.
And apparently because he lost control of the ball as he was going to the ground. This is the part of the rule where the issue is losing control of the ball going to the ground. Mm-hmm. Because you can catch the ball.
Right.
And
my question is why is that not a fumble?
Well, the ground can't cause a fumble. I think you have to give receivers the same rules that you give running backs.
Right, but if he's being contacted and he hits the ground, and then it can be a fumble.
If the ball is coming out before he hits the ground, it should be a fumble.
Right.
Like a running back.
Right.
But because he's going to the ground, it has to be a catch before it can be a fumble.
Right.
And so you have to complete the catch through the ground.
That's what I'm saying. It should just be a catch, and then when that happens, if you end up losing it, then it's a fumble.
And that's what would happen if we changed the rule. You'd have more fumbles.
Yes.
That's okay, because then you'd have more catches. You would have catches that are catches that look like catches.
Right. The catches would be clear. Catch the ball 2 feet, catch. Done.
Demonstrate. It doesn't even have to be. Demonstrate possession of the ball in bounds.
All I'm saying is, yes, possession of the ball 2 feet down. That's a catch.
And really, those are the first two parts of the rules. When you look at the rule, it says a player who makes a catch may advance the ball. A forward pass is complete by the offense or intercepted by the defense if a player who is in bounds secures control of the ball in his hands or arms prior to the ball touching the ground. Right? That's a catch. B, touches the ground in bounds with both feet or any part of his body other than his hands.
Yep. Knee equals 2 feet. Elbow equals 2 feet. I'm fine with all that.
It's the maintains control of the ball after A and B have been fulfilled until he has clearly become a runner.
Have you heard one good explanation as to the point of that part of the rule?
Is why you have it? Because people say there should be a time element so you don't have so many fumbles. And it's coming up with that time element.
Why are they so afraid of fumbles?
I don't know. Because offense is awesome.
You know what's awesome is when your offense gets the ball after a fumble. And then you got more offense.
Or completes a catch that looks like a catch.
Right. Yeah, gets all the catches that they should catch, that they do catch.
Because Des Bryant's catch was a catch.
Yep.
Jesse James's catch was a catch.
Yeah, clearly.
And Calvin Johnson's catch was a catch, if you want to go back that far.
Absolutely.
If you want to go back earlier on in the season, the Jets player who caught the ball and then lost control of the ball, that should be a catch and a fumble.
Sterling Shepard had a touchdown that apparently was not a catch, but was a catch.
It's happened too many times.
It's dumb.
demonstrate possession of the football.
2 feet down.
2 feet down. You don't need that other part.
No. The only argument I've ever heard for it is player safety. Well, how does that make anything safer for a player? I don't understand it.
They're still getting hit.
That's the only argument I've had throwing.
You still would have the defenseless receiver thing where you can't aim at their head.
Right.
So how is that
I don't know. I was watching like NFL Network or something like that, and they asked one of the former officials and all that. Well, what's the point of that? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's for player safety. And then they went off on some other tangent.
Okay.
What do you mean it's for player safety?
How is that? Yeah.
I don't know. To save them from fumbles? Are they like, do fumbles cause CTE? Is that what I guess
you have people diving for the fumbles, but you're going to have people diving for fumbles anyway.
Yeah. Because the players don't know when it's a catch or not a catch.
No.
You play it safe, you go for the ball.
I feel like that's just the argument to try and end the argument.
I don't know.
It's like when you're a parent and you say, and when your kid says why, and you say because I said so.
Which is one of the things when my daughter was born, I told myself I would never tell my daughter just because my mom used to say that crap to me all the time.
Yeah.
And it drove me bat catfish crazy.
Player safety is just because.
Just because. You're right.
Officials, do better. NFL, come on, let's figure this out in this offseason.
Rules committee, do better.
Do better. On to Better at Life.
All right. My Better at Life than Skip Bayless this week, Brandon, is for a different division over at the NFL, and it is their advertising division. Oh. Because they have an amazing commercial out. I know you've all seen it. It's hilarious. Yes. It cracks my ass up every single time I see it. It is when the Atlanta Falcons family, the mom, gets yet another Julio jersey as a present. She goes to take it to
it's her first Julio jersey, but yet another Falcons jersey.
Correct. And, acts all excited, the whole thing, walks down the hall, goes to her closet, rips open the clothes, and there it is. The shrine to Russell Carrington Wilson. Gives him the quick kiss. I love it because it shows how fickle Atlanta fan is. Like, it picks on the perfect fan base for me. I have a similar shrine in my closet to Russell Wilson, although it's not my closet. It's just next to my bedstand. I don't need to hide it.
You don't need to hide it.
No. So for that commercial, that just makes me chuckle every single time that I see it. Whoever made that commercial, whoever thought of the concept, you are better at life than Skip Bayless.
Definitely one of my favorite commercials out right now. Although maybe a do better for that Atlanta fan family. How would you not have given her a Julio Jones jersey by now?
Well, I guess
wouldn't that be the first?
I guess the do better I would have in that is there's never a place anywhere in the United States where there are 4 simultaneous Atlanta Falcons fans together. Doesn't happen. There's not enough of them.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, that's a bandwagon fan base, man. And that's one thing that after this loss that I find interesting is now you know who the bandwagon fans were.
Oh yeah, because now they're on the Rams fan bandwagon, right?
Or just not Seahawks.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, it's cool.
I mean, that's just how you know.
Yeah, now you know. If you're still a fan now and somebody calls you a bandwagon fan, you say no.
Right. I'm still a fan.
I'm still a fan after, getting mollywomped by the catfish and Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my Better at Life this week, all of our members of the flock out there. With the end of the year coming up, I was kind of putting things together just to see, kind of recapping what we've done this past year.
Yes.
And I've noticed that with our support from our members of the flock, it's helped to account for $300 worth of donations to the Montana Food Bank.
Yep.
$189 of donations to the Maple Valley Food Bank. Yep. So thanks to Barry and John, I included that in the total here.
That's awesome.
And $250 to the Ronald McDonald House.
That's awesome, too.
And another nearly $50 for what I call 12s Helping 12s charities. And there is the 12s Helping 12s group, but I kind of lump, they have their charities. But anytime I see, whether it's a member of the flock or another Seahawks fan
just needs a little
in need, $12 donation, I never hesitate to put that in. Yep. So that's where those go. And then I think we had, was it this last year when we did the Cliff Averill Family Foundation
Yes.
thing? So I think 320 to that, too.
Correct.
Could not have done it without our members of the flock. So for all you out there, better at life than Skip Bayless.
Absolutely, man. Greatest community of people that you could possibly assemble. I truly believe that. One of the things that I would also give them kudos for is I see them all supporting each other in the Ring of Honor, and going back and forth and helping each other out, when things don't go the way that we want.
Yeah, we might have to pull together a fund to buy Pepper a new chair. Yes,
I think that's a good idea.
After the Rams game, it did not look in the best of shape.
No. Understandable. So, yes, we need to get to a montage of photos of the chair together and get Sarah McLachlan out and play the music and start a fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for everybody next week, coming up Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. And Hanukkah.
Yes.
Finished up recently. Happy Hanukkah.
Yes. Happy Christmas to everybody.
Happy holidays.
That too. If you're into the Festivus thing, then good for you. You're a big Seinfeld fan.
Airing of the grievances. We probably should have done that.
I think we did. I felt like we aired the grievances.
I meant among us, but I mean.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, my only grievance is that you think you're going to beat me in the Pick'em League. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And that's my grievance, too. That you think you're going to beat me in the Pick'em League.
I'm currently doing it.
Still 2 weeks left and the playoffs.
Playoffs? You can't. Don't throw playoffs at me. It's impossible to come back in the playoffs in the Pick'em League. There's not enough.
It is pretty hard to come back. But we're only 10 points apart.
True.
I can beat you.
It's cute that you're going to try. You're adorable when you're competitive.
And with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.